Hey, it's Travis. I'm the Creative Arts Pastor here at FCC in Santa Maria, California. Today I'm here with Andrew Ryver. Andrew's our Creative Arts Associate here at the church. Tell us what we're doing today.
So I'm going to take you around our creative space for a few minutes, give you guys a quick rundown of my gear, talk about my guitars, amps, even my pedal board, and hopefully you guys get a taste of what I'm using, how I'm using it, and why.
Well, I love this guy's heart for serving the church. He plays electric guitar almost every weekend. He's a great worship leader for us here. Love having him on staff. You guys are in for a treat with this rig rundown. One of the purposes of the rig rundown, it's not just to show Andrew's fancy gear or what's on his board today that wasn't on his board maybe last week, but rather we want to be a church that resources other ministries. And so if after watching this video, if you've got questions about any of the gear that Andrew's using, or maybe some of the gear that you currently have and you're wondering how you can use that to your fullest potential, we'd love to have those conversations with you. So both of our emails and our church website is going to be in the description below, and you can go there, you can send us a message, and we'd love to have conversations with you about that. Hopefully that helps you pursue excellence in serving. So without further ado, here's Andrew's rig rundown.
Hey guys, my name is Andrew, and as Travis said, I'm the Creative Arts Associate here at First Christian Church. And here on Sunday mornings, we have a first service acoustic set. So to start off talking about my guitars, I want to bring out what I'm using for that. Right now, I'm playing a Taylor 214 Cutaway, and I've had this guy for the last couple of years and just really fallen in love with the way it sounds and the way it plays. If there's one thing I could say about this guitar, it's that the low end for a Taylor is really nice. It's not too high or bright for me, and so it's really served me well the last couple of years playing acoustic. I mainly lead from electric, and lately I've been getting into a lot of ambient stuff, ambient swells and different fingering styles, and so for that I'm using a Gretsch Projet Silver Sparkle Edition, and they don't make these anymore, so I thought it was cool to get my hands on one. This is just a nice guitar that sounds really full. It's really inexpensive, and so for the price you're paying, it's a great budget guitar. I use it a lot of time for swells and just lots of ambient sounds if we have a lot of songs in the set that requires that. For my go-to guitar, and probably my favorite guitar I've ever owned, is my Fender American Standard Tele, and this guy was perfect. I wasn't so sure about getting a Tele as a worship leader, someone who's playing a lot of rhythm stuff at times. But I have my board set up for a Telecaster, and they're known for their high-end frequencies. But I made sure that when I'm playing rhythm stuff, that it's really chimey, has some low end to it, but also that it sings when I play those lead lines, because I love playing lead guitar a lot of times as well. So great guitar, plays amazing, definitely recommend these guys. So go check them out if you have the chance. So we're here backstage, and we run all of our amps back here for a number of different reasons, but the first one, and probably the most important one, is that it helps our sound guys have complete control over the mix in the house. If we're running these on stage, it can cause a lot of bleed through. I like to run my amps pretty hot, and so running them back here just helps to bring that sound down. Eventually we plan to even build an ISO cabinet where there's completely no noise coming out of that. A problem that we ran into was the distance between our pedal boards and the amps back here, and so we went ahead and ordered some SGI boxes so that way we could run a really long balance cable and not have any signal loss from our guitars to the amps. I'm running a Vox AC15C1 with a greenback speaker upgraded inside, and I really love this guy. I used to play through this amp over here, which is a Vox AC15 VR. And the C1 just has a little bit more depth to it, rounds out my tone really nice, fuller sound. And so I'm using this guy as my main amp, and also I've been experimenting with stereo sounds lately. It creates just a fuller sound. I can mess with panning, delays, and reverbs, and so I'm using the VR for that every once in a while. We mainly just go with one amp here with a mono signal. And we're miking these with Shure SM57s, and they're really just standard mics. But they do the trick. I run mine right at the edge of the speaker so those harsh frequencies aren't hitting the mic straight away. And the last thing back here is my Sonic Stomp. I used to have it on my pedal board, but now I'm just running it right on top of my amp as the last thing in my chain, and it helps maximize my notes and accentuates what I'm playing right before it goes into the amp. Between a Vox and Tele combination, things can get a little trebly, and so I'm running both of these amps with a lower tone on the tone knob, and I run my volumes pretty much at the breaking point. So with that, this is my amplification. We'll head out to the front of the stage and talk pedal boards. So this is my pedal board, and I want to run through my signal chain for you guys really quick. It's being ran on a Duo 24 Temple board by Temple Audio, and I run in through the side panel right here, and it goes underneath the board into a JHS little black box buffer. Also underneath the board is my Voodoo Labs Mondo, which powers everything on the board, including the LEDs underneath. From the buffer, I run to the top of the board into the Signacomp compressor by CMAT Mods. That guy's always on, and it adds a lot of sparkle to my tone, and really love that guy. From there, I go into my Road Rage custom 4-loop looper, and here I'm able to control 4 different pedals across the board. The first thing in the chain is a POG Nano by Electro Harmonics right here, and it's just an octave generator. So I use that guy for lead lines or for swells, and it really just fattens up what I'm playing. Second in the chain is the boost. It's just a clean boost by TC Electronic. It's their Spark Mini Booster, and that guy's just pure volume. It takes my signal and amplifies it into the rest of my chain. Then I go into my drives, and my first stage overdrive is a JHS Morning Glory. Really transparent overdrive, definitely recommend them. Also adds a lot of sparkle with this bright switch right here. So love that guy. My second stage overdrive is a Scarlet Love by Selah Effects. It's also really transparent, but also really intelligible in the notes you're playing, especially when you have a higher gain setting like I have for my second stage. So that's the looper, and then from there I go into my Polytune Mini by TC Electronics. You guys know what a looper does. I don't need to get really into that. And then from there I move into my Classic Audio Volume Roller. And if you haven't heard of these guys, I definitely recommend checking them out. For a volume pedal, they have a really low profile, don't take up a lot of space on your board, so it really opens up a lot of reality. And you just put your foot over the top and roll up and roll down, and your LED light will indicate, if you can tell on the video, will indicate how loud your signal is. And then from there I go into my delays. I start off with a carbon copy. It's an analog, really warm analog delay. It also has this cool little mod setting that you can turn off and on, and that adds a nice chorus effect to your delays. I use this guy mainly for filler parts or arpeggiated stuff or swells. And then from there I go into my main delay pedal. I use 4 presets. This guy is the Strymon Timeline. If you're a worship guitarist, you know how crazy in-depth these pedals are. I'm just using 4 presets, keeping it simple. My first preset's a lead line. My second I use for swells. And then if I bank up, I use an ice setting that adds a nice shimmer effect to your delay trails. And then my last one that I use is a dotted eighth. The cool thing that I experimented with and found out that works really well is I use a favorite switch, and this is right here. This guy is a micro favorite from a guy I met on Facebook, Gear Talk Praise and Worship. He has a company called Analog Endeavors, and he made this favorite switch for me. And basically what this does is it controls the parameters on each preset of the timeline. So for example, for my lead line, if I want to get a little bit heavier with my delay setting, if it's off, I'll use it for standard lead line. But if I really quickly want to play a more saturated delay part, I'll flip on that favorite switch and the parameters change in the timeline, and that totally changes your preset. So it's like having 2 presets in one, which is kind of a cool little feature that I found out you could do. From here, I move into my reverbs, which is, the first one is a Blue Sky and standard bypass. This guy's always on, just standard reverb hall setting. And my favorite switch controls the shimmer. And so that famous shimmer effect that a lot of guys are using, that's what I use right here. Lastly, in my chain from this guy, I go into my newest pedal. It's the Eventide H9 Harmonizer. If you haven't heard of these guys, there's about a million things you can do with them. For me, I'm using it a lot of times for ambient sounds. And so my first preset on this is just their factory ultra setting, and it adds a nice wash effect underneath your signal. A lot of times I'll use it for tremolos, I'll use it for some pitch stuff, and also for harmonizing with lead lines and whatnot. So definitely a cool pedal, a lot of stuff you can do with it, so check it out if you have the time. So this is my board. I love playing through it every Sunday. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment or email us. We'd love to connect up with you and answer any questions you guys have. So thanks for watching.